Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
This morning, police continue their investigation to determine why a driver lost control and slammed straight into oncoming traffic, sending one person to the hospital with very serious injuries. The info just ahead here on GMSA.
Early voting is just days away, and one of the largest factors in this election cycle is the pandemic. The latest how that's affecting both candidates and the latest on President Trump's plans after his diagnosis.
And taking a live look out at the Alamo City, 66 degrees to start your Sunday morning. Could we be in for record-breaking heat? We're going to check in with our Sarah Spivey in just a few moments. Good morning, 6 o'clock this Sunday, October 11th. Did you make it outside yesterday? Enjoy the sun?
I was outside all day yesterday just because we had friends in town. We wanted to social distance. We went on walks and outdoor barbecues. But, I mean, the weather was not friendly at all for that.
I loved it.
Okay.
Love the sun, love the heat, and you got to soak it up before it goes away.
Well, there you go, Max. And this heat is here to stay, at least for the rest of the weekend. Tomorrow, we do get a cool front, and so that'll help cool things down a little bit, but not by a ton. At least we don't have to deal with the humidity, so it'll be a dry heat today. Outside right now, temperatures have cooled down into the 60s as we start our Sunday. It's very nice outside. 66 degrees, humidity is pretty low, and we could even drop a degree or two before sunrise there. 64 at Bernie Stage Airfield, 57 in Kerrville, 56 in Tarpley, 60 in Hondo, 66 in New Braunfels, and 67 at JBSA Randolph. You know, Sarah brought it up earlier, going on a walk. It's been a while since I've showed Fido's forecast, but if you do plan to walk the dog today, just know that it's going to be best to do that in the morning hour and before lunch, because in the afternoon, we could get up to 99 degrees today for the high temperature. Once we get into the 90s, that asphalt just becomes too hot. Pavement becomes too hot for your pup's paws. And honestly, it's a little bit difficult to walk outside when it's 99 degrees for us. Thankfully, in the evening, we'll be cooling down quickly. Temperatures falling into the 80s by 9 o'clock. More on the cool down. A small cool down tomorrow, and then an even bigger one later on in the week. So we're talking a double dose of cool fronts coming up in a bit. Max, Sarah?
Thank you, Sarah. In your latest news this morning, a man in his 50s is in the hospital this morning after San Antonio police tell us another driver veered into oncoming traffic.
Police were called to the intersection of Jackson Keller Road and Vance Jackson around 10 last night. Alicia Barrera is live downtown with the latest. Good morning, Alicia. Do we know the condition of the victim?
Good morning. Well, the damages and injuries are very serious. That victim, a 50-year-old man we know is in critical condition at University Hospital because of just how serious this accident was. Just take a look at how both of those cars ended up. Police say this happened around 10 last night. Officers say the man was headed north on Vance Jackson around 10, and as he approached that traffic light at Jackson Keller, police say another driver, a female driver, lost control coming off that corner and veered into oncoming traffic, crashing into the man's vehicle. Both vehicles ended up off the main road. That man was taken to University Hospital with life-threatening injuries. But the big question, will the driver at fault, that woman, face any charges in relation to this crash? Police at the scene told us that that's not the case. They don't suspect that alcohol was involved. Plus, that woman did stay on the scene after that crash happened. But they do suspect that speed was definitely a factor in this crash. Reporting Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Now to the latest COVID-19 numbers in Bexar County. Metro Health reporting 80 new cases. That brings the total confirmed cases to 59,594 since the pandemic began. The 7-day moving average is 156 per day. There are also 2 new deaths, bringing the death toll to 1,174 people. There are 190 people in the hospital. That's down from 3 from Friday. 83 are in the ICU and 38 on ventilators. 17% of hospital beds are at capacity.
Well, President Donald Trump has been given the all clear from his physician as he prepares to return to the campaign trail just days after recovering from the coronavirus.
It comes on the heels of after a White House event this weekend with hundreds of supporters, and the New York Times is reporting questioning his decision making. Here's ABC's Tania Hernandez.
From the White House balcony, President Trump targeting black voters in a mostly masked but packed rally.
But I just want to thank most particularly you, because you people come out and you cheer and you love your country and you get it. You're way, way ahead of many, many people in this country. But the country is getting it. The country is seeing something now.
Late Saturday, the president's physician releasing a memo saying he's no longer a risk to others. The president claims the coronavirus is disappearing, despite 58,000 cases reported Friday. His opponent, Joe Biden, attacking his response at a rally for union workers in western Pennsylvania.
We lose anywhere from 700 to 1,000 people a day dead. The president was told a little while ago, when he was told 100,000 people a day were dying, you know what he said? He says it is what it is.
The rallies amid two New York Times reports, one claiming the president, instead of, quote, draining the swamp, reinvented it by allegedly using his hotels and resorts for public and private business as well as special interests. The other, the White House blocked the CDC from requiring masks on public transportation nationwide. ABC News has not independently confirmed those reports, but has reached out to the White House and the Trump campaign. Ty Hernandez, ABC News, New York.
In your morning headlines, police in Wisconsin declaring an unlawful assembly for protesters who are now breaking the 7 p.m. curfew. The Milwaukee suburb of Wauwatosa has seen 4 nights of demonstrations over the shooting death of Alvin Cole. Protesters are angry that the officer who killed the black 17-year-old will not face criminal charges. The DA for the area says deadly force was necessary while pursuing Cole because police tell us that he discharged a weapon and refused to then drop it. During protests this week, police arrested nearly 30 people and they used tear gas on protesters.
Well, Louisiana residents are once again dodging overturned cars on the roads, trudging through knee-deep water to find their homes flooded after Hurricane Delta blew through part of the state. Delta made landfall Friday with top winds of 100 miles per hour. It then moved over Lake Charles, a city where Hurricane Laura damaged nearly every building in late August. No deaths from Delta have been reported so far. Delta weakened into a tropical depression, but forecasters warned of flash flood and storm surge danger in areas from Texas to Mississippi.
And heading overseas, North Korea unveiling what appears to be a new intercontinental ballistic missile and other additions to its growing weapons arsenal at a military parade. So take a look. The weapons displayed in the parade included what was possibly the country's largest yet, which was mounted on a launch vehicle, also seen for the first time. Now, North Korea also displaying a variety of solid fuel weapon systems, including what could be an advanced version of missiles designed to be fired from submarines or land mobile launchers. Time now, 6:08, 66 degrees out.
Well, Americans spend all year looking forward to the spooky skeletons, but now there's also COVID haunting us. Still ahead on GMSA, we give you some tips on how you can have a happy Halloween.
And the Barbie doll and her friend Nikki having a talk about racism in a video published by Mattel. We have the details next on GMSA.
Take a look outside with live cam. 66 at 6:08 this morning. Feels cool right now if you want to get out and walk and enjoy it while it lasts. Sarah Spivey says we could have some record-breaking heat later today.
Good morning and welcome back. Barbie and her friend Nikki talk about racism in a new animated video from Mattel.
A clip from the conversation is going viral with more than 3 million views on Twitter. So take a look. In the video, Nikki, who's black, talks about times she's experienced discrimination. Barbie listens and validates her friend.
That's right. The two then tell viewers their stories of privilege and discrimination are signs of a bigger issue. Mattel says the goal of the video, help girls understand why people across the country are rallying and marching.
This stuff isn't easy to talk about.
Well, if you play the popular mobile game Words with Friends, you might have seen a special message that says simply stay.
That's because yesterday, October 10th, was the World Mental Health Day. Now, the Born This Way Foundation, headed up by Lady Gaga's mother, used the popular platform to provide support.
The word stay was to highlight the importance of mental health. The purpose is to support the website pleasestay.us, which supports suicide prevention and champions mental wellness.
Absolutely. Also, shout out to Words with Friends. Love that game. It was like Scrabble on your phone.
I know it's Scrabble with your.
Oh, I'm just making sure. I wasn't sure if you're like part of this generation or not. So, you know.
Oh my goodness.
It gets lost sometimes.
Burns keep on coming.
I know.
We can't take a day off.
The heat.
You got to stay on your toes.
Speaking of the heat.
Thank you, Sarah. Good transition. Yesterday was very hot. We got up to 97 degrees, just a degree shy of the record. Our average high temperature in the middle of October is 85 degrees. So we were 12 degrees above average yesterday. Oh my goodness, it felt like summer instead of October. Now, look at Del Rio. Del Rio's high temperature, 102 yesterday. What's even more impressive is that we're probably going to see temperatures a couple of degrees warmer than what the highs were yesterday. So get ready for a very hot, unusually hot October day. Now, I do want to show you that temperatures out there right now are actually quite comfortable. So we cooled down from 97 yesterday in the afternoon to 66 right now outside in San Antonio, 60 in Hondo. Del Rio, which was at 102, now at 70 degrees, 57 in Kerrville. So why are we seeing such drastic swings in temperature from the morning to the afternoon? Well, it all has to do with this drier air in place. Dew points are generally in the 40s to the 50s, and that's pretty dry. And into the afternoon, we'll see even cooler dew points, so it'll be even drier in the afternoon. So at least we've got a dry heat. However, I will say that our counties to the east of San Antonio and Bexar County are experiencing some clouds this morning. Those will give way to afternoon sun. All of us seeing complete sunshine today. So guess what? It's going to be a hot one. Here's a look at the high temperatures this afternoon. 99 in New Braunfels, 99 in San Antonio. If we reach 100 degrees, if we can get to 100 degrees in San Antonio, that'll be the latest 100-degree day on record, and records have been taken since 1885. So this heat today is no joke. Out west toward Del Rio, 105 for the high, 103 in Eagle Pass, 103 in Carrizo Springs, 104 for the high temperature down in Laredo. This is some real deal summertime heat. And even though we're South Texans and we're used to it, we haven't had to deal with this kind of heat in quite some time. So if you have some outdoor plans, just make sure to bring some water with you. Again, complete sunshine. Even though we're in the 60s right now, we'll already be near 80 degrees at 10, 90 at noon, 99 for the high temperature. South wind, not too breezy from the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, and then cooling down late tonight. We'll be back into the 80s by 9 p.m. So there's the remnants of Delta currently bringing some flooding rains to the Appalachian Mountains today. So they'll have to watch out for flooding. We're dealing with a high pressure system in place. That's why it's clear over Texas and the Central Plains. Meanwhile, out to the west, the Pacific Northwest, we're setting up our next cool front. And this will be arriving just in the nick of time tomorrow to prevent us from seeing another upper 90, potentially triple-digit day. Now, the front that arrives tomorrow is not going to be strong. It'll knock our high temperatures down into the low 90s for the rest of the week. But then there's another cool front that will arrive on Thursday, and this one is really going to be a real deal cold front. It'll knock our high temperatures down into the 70s by Friday. Unfortunately, no significant chance for rain. We may see an isolated shower or storm Thursday night into Friday, but rain chances do not look good over the next 7 days. And that is unfortunate because we're in the middle of a pretty long rain-free streak. It's been 19 days without rain in San Antonio. We'll probably add at least another 4 days onto that. So coming up, I've got some Weather 101 trivia for you about this October heat. When was the last time we were up to 99 degrees in October? I'll have that for you coming up in a bit.
I love it when it's a cool front in South Texas and it's going to be like 93 degrees.
Yeah, it's cool down in 93.
But I will take it after 99 today.
Thank you, Sarah. 6:17, 66 degrees out.
Still ahead on GMSA, a woman in Illinois received her little bundle of joy in an unexpected time. We have her story still ahead.
And millions of Americans spending all year looking forward to Halloween. What is your go-to Halloween candy?
Come back to me on that.
Okay, that's good. It's a tough decision, but this year could look a little bit different. We have some, ways to stay safe from the CDC. We'll explain next.
Are you planning on going trick-or-treating this year? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention advises to skip it.
That's right. New guidelines, the CDC advises door-to-door traditions might be too dangerous during this pandemic. Indoor parties and haunted houses also among the riskiest of Halloween activities.
This morning, we have some tips you can still have fun with and stay safe. COVID-19 has made this Halloween more than just a little scary.
Some people will wear masks and a lot of people won't, and there'll be police officers around telling us to wear masks, probably.
Here are some tricks to help you and your little ones enjoy the treats. The safest option? Halloween at home. So many of the things that keep the spooky spirit alive can still easily and safely be done at home, like movies, decorations, costumes, and of course, pumpkin carving. Families and friends can opt in for a Skype-a-ween and virtually experience the happy haunts together. Consider trick-or-treating alternatives like trunk-or-treating, where families can set up stations in the back of their cars and have candy positioned at a safe distance. And choose costumes that have a mask and gloves already a part of them. If you choose to go out, COVID-19 is unlikely to spread via food, but you should still sanitize candy packaging.
I'll put out a bowl like I usually do and eat too much of it myself.
Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News. Well, staying home is the safest option for you and your loved ones. If you do choose to go out, remember to practice social distancing and always wear a mask, or else the ghosts and ghouls will take you too.
Do you have fun with that one?
I had a little fun with that one.
Did you figure out your favorite Halloween candy?
Skittles.
Not mad, I'm just disappointed. 622, 66 degrees out.
Well, a pregnant woman had to keep taking her important exam after her water broke. We have the details. Her little bundle of joys birthed next.
Good morning, welcome back, and happy Sunday. We are here to talk about a super high achiever, an Illinois woman giving birth right in the middle of her bar exam.
You go, girl. Loyola University School of Law grad Brianna Hill says the pandemic pushed her bar exam date closer to her due date. The virtual test has 4 90-minute sections that students take over 2 days, and after the first part, Hill says her water broke.
That's right. Her midwife told her she didn't have to go to the hospital right away, so instead of going to the hospital, she finished the second part of the exam. That night, though, she delivered this beautiful baby boy.
The next day, she finished her bar exam from the hospital. Hill hasn't received her results, but she already has a job lined up.
The best is the shirt that the baby boy is wearing, Mommy's Co-Counsel.
That is so cute.
Well, congratulations on finishing the bar, on the job, and on the baby boy.
What a great story to tell.
All right, time now, 626, 66 degrees out.
Well, a federal appeals court now tossing out the blocking of Governor Greg Abbott's order to limit ballot collection sites. We have the latest information. That's still ahead.
Yeah, big development with Ken Paxton in that, too. And Europe, it is being fueled by a second wave of this pandemic. Next on GMSA, why experts not only worried about what's happening in Europe, but also worried about what could happen here in the U.S. Good morning, welcome back, and happy Sunday. 6:30 this morning, October 11th. You made it outside a lot yesterday.
I did, and I sweat a lot.
Did you get the tan on?
No, I'm like, you know, I do like the zinc, like the high level zinc, so I
sunscreen.
Smart.
Oh my gosh, I have to. And
It was very, very hot yesterday. Record-breaking heat, almost record-breaking heat in San Antonio. Today we will see record-breaking heat in San Antonio. Temperatures should be close to 100 degrees in the afternoon. Thankfully, it's a nice and cool start to the day. It's 66 degrees at the airport, 56 in Kerrville, 70 in Del Rio, 63 in Carrizo Springs, 63 in Uvalde, 65 in Cotulla. But this is a look at the future cast, and it is going to be totally sunny and totally hot outside. 105 for the high in Del Rio, 103 in Eagle Pass, 100 in Pleasanton, 102 in Hondo, 99 degrees for the high temperature in San Antonio. That brings me to our first Weather 101 question for the day. When was the last time to reach 99 degrees in San Antonio in October? 1991, 1998, 2003, 2011. Remember, 2011 was a year with a lot of drought. But am I saying that to throw you off? You'll just have to wait and see. I'll have that answer and the full forecast coming up in a bit.
Thank you, Sarah. A man in critical condition this morning after crashing into another vehicle on the city's north side. So take a look. This crash happening around 10 last night near the intersection of Vance Jackson and Jackson Keller Road. Police on the scene telling us the driver lost control of their vehicle, veered into oncoming traffic while turning from Keller onto Vance Jackson. Now, police tell us the driver of that second vehicle, a man in his 50s, taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers also on the scene telling us alcohol was not a factor. Right now, charges are set to be filed.
Well, it's been a wild weekend in the fight over ballot boxes in Texas. First, a court issued a ruling late Friday blocking Governor Greg Abbott's order to limit ballot collection sites.
Then a federal appeals court tossed that ruling out, at least for the moment, and now Ken Paxton is getting involved. What happens next could affect the way a lot of Texans vote. Here's the latest.
A battle is brewing over the ballots. Earlier this month, Governor Greg Abbott issuing a directive which would limit where voters can drop off mail-in ballots. Just one site in each Texas county. The governor says this was to enhance ballot security. Just Friday, though, U.S. District Court Judge Robert Pittman overruled that order. And then yesterday, Attorney General Ken Paxton filing an appeal of the injunction.
This is all about voter suppression.
Luis Veta is a national general counselor for the League of Latin American Citizens, just one of 4 groups that filed a federal lawsuit against the state of Texas. Veta says having just one drop-off site would be difficult for people with disabilities.
Some people are going to be driving 40, 50 miles to try to get there.
And hours after the Attorney General filed his appeal, the United States Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals granted his request, which means the governor's single ballot collection spot per county order stays in effect, at least for now.
I don't think it's fair to just have one location in such a large county.
Raven Galdiano empathizes with those, especially in larger counties, because she believes it's a person's right to choose where and how they vote.
It shouldn't be up to anybody else to make that decision for us.
Well, it's important to note that the governor's proclamation does not affect Bexar County, which had only one designated drop-off site.
That's right. And we do expect a lot more updates Monday morning, so make sure to stay with us online and on air as more information becomes available. And talking about voting, voter registration is over and early voting just around the corner. Early voting running this Tuesday, October 13th until October 30th.
Well, this year, the early voting period is extended after Governor Greg Abbott issued a proclamation to give residents more time to cast their ballots. Nearly 50 polling locations will be open daily in Bexar County. This includes the AT&T Center, which was recently transformed into a mega polling site.
And if you have any questions about early voting or who's going to be on the ballot or what's going to be on the ballot, we have all that information right now. Just head to KSAT.com. Also, our Alicia Barrera is going to be covering all you need to know about voting in the election in our next hour of GMSA at 8 a.m. And speaking of voting and speaking of GMSA at 8 a.m., voting, one of the many issues being talked about right now here in San Antonio and around the country. But we also have a wide variety of issues. Some of these topics include our local economy, law enforcement, and of course, this pandemic.
With so much going on right now, we wanted answers. So this morning at 8 a.m. and again at 8:30 a.m., Mayor Ron Nirenberg will join us live to answer the biggest questions facing our community. If you have any questions you'd like to be asked, feel free to submit them right now. Just head to the leading essay section of KSAT.com and join us in our 8 a.m. hour to see the mayor's response. Now to the latest on the pandemic from a macro perspective. More than 350,000 cases in COVID-19 in one day. That was Friday, and the World Health Organization said it was the highest global number of daily COVID-19 cases since the start of the pandemic.
That's right. Health experts say it's being fueled by a second wave in Europe. And as CNN's Britt Conway reports, doctors right here at home, they're worried we could be headed for another wave here.
We're quite fearful for what we are heading into and what we're starting to see in our hospitals.
It's already happening in Europe, a second wave of COVID-19. Dr. Megan Ranney is an ER doctor with Brown University. She says doctors all over the country are starting to see more severe cases.
We are all deeply afraid that this is the beginning of that dreaded second wave.
The warning comes a day after health officials reported the highest number of new COVID-19 cases in a day in almost 2 months.
We did see those spikes in numbers that were largely younger people going back to college. But what we're seeing now is that it's starting to spread within the community.
Coronavirus response coordinator Dr. Deborah Burks is saying the same thing.
Community spread is now occurring with small gatherings day after day in households and families and friends.
And an updated coronavirus projection model says the U.S. could see 395,000 deaths by February 1st. Quite different than what the president is projecting.
It's going to disappear. It is disappearing, and where vaccines are going to help and the therapeutics.
That is false. We have no proven miracle cure. There are some treatments. Regeneron may be one of them, but we don't have enough data yet.
Both doctors say until we do, it's up to us.
The only thing we have right now is prevention.
The only thing that will prevent the next wave is us.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Time now, 6:37, 66 degrees out.
Still ahead on GMSA, we have a preview of a movie set and filmed in the Lone Star State by a filmmaker from Lubbock.
That is so cool. Also, Oreo cookies releasing a new colorful look. Look at that. That's pretty sweet.
That's awesome.
I'm in. We'll explain why they're doing it.
Can you imagine, though, your mouth and your tongue? So many different colors.
Red or purple?
Red, yellow, pink. Speaking of colorful outside, I don't even know where I was going with that. I was thinking like heat waves, like the sun rays.
Sure, you know what? It's hot. It's going to get hotter. We're going to check in with Sarah after the break.
KSAT 12 presents another Day of the Dead story.
Day of the Dead is a merger of two traditions, Mexico's indigenous customs and Christianity.
But the only thing that has changed is that it's not anymore a pagan celebration. It is a Christian celebration together with the whole church celebrating All Souls Day.
This merger began when the first missionaries arrived after the Spanish conquest, and they needed a plan.
It was a humongous task that then they said, let's just take their custom, but make it Christian. So they took everything that they had for their cult of the dead, but Christianize it. That is why the Day of the Dead is celebrated in Mexico very differently to any other parts of the Catholic world.
The combining of traditions did bring change. The natives' month-long celebration was shortened.
They said, no, it's going to be only one day, which is the official day of the church, the 2nd of November.
The shift to Christianity occurred in very troubling times, and it was difficult for both sides. A miracle was needed.
Then something happened, the event of Guadalupe. Guadalupe appearing as an Indian woman, she was probably the most important or central element of evangelization and accepting Christianity in the New World.
So important that to this day, you'll find her placed atop most altars during Day of the Dead.
Well, Oreo has released a limited edition rainbow cookie to celebrate LGBTQ plus History Month.
That's right. The brand is teaming up with the organization previously known as Parent, Families, and Friends of Lesbians and Gays in a special release. Take a look. These cookies, though, wait for it. There they are. Not being released in stores. Instead, Oreo says they're giving them away to fans to, quote, reward acts of allyship for the LGBTQ plus community.
Fans can enter for a chance to get the cookies by sharing a photo on social media that shows how they are allies.
All right, so we talked about this in the break. What is your go-to cookie?
Oh, we were talking about this in the break.
Yeah, Kevin.
Skittles.
No.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, I was just focusing on Skittles still. Yeah, no, I like Oreos.
Oreos, they're top tier?
I love those classic iced oatmeal cookies.
Ooh,
You know what I'm talking about?
Throwback.
Yeah, those are really good.
Love it.
I also like coming up with trivia questions for Max and Sarah. So I've kind of given this away a couple of times today. So if you're
Was that a giveaway or was that to throw us off the trail?
No,
I think.
When was let me say the question. When was the last time to reach 99 degrees in San Antonio in October? 99 is the forecast high today, by the way. Max, yes?
My hand is raised for those who can't see. I don't like to interrupt the teacher. So
What's your
I'm going to
guess?
say D.
You're going to say 2011.
I'm going to say B.
Guess what?
What?
You're both wrong. 1991. Isn't that impressive?
I'm still
October 12th, 1991, we hit 99 degrees, and that was the last time we've reached 99 in October. On record, we have never reached 100 degrees in October. So If we can get to 99, it'll be the hottest it's been in quick math, 29 years. If we do not, if we get to 100, it'll be the hottest October day on record. Records have been taken since 1885. So very impressive there. So a little bit on the time lapse right now. It's fairly quiet outside right now. We've got clear skies, 66 degrees for the morning low temperature so far. So we're going to do a big warm up today, all thanks to low humidity. We're going to have low humidity throughout the day. So at least it'll be a dry heat, but still an impressive bounce from the 60s and even in the 50s in some places to near 100 degrees. 56 for the wake up temperature in Kerrville, 56 in Tarpley, 60 in Hondo, 64 Castroville, 65 Stinson, 67 JBSA Randolph, 66 in New Braunfels. Wider View, 70 degrees in Del Rio, but yesterday Del Rio reached 102, so that's quite the cool down for them from yesterday to this morning. And in the future cast, you know, there may be some clouds east of I-10 and I-35, but they'll give away to afternoon sun. All of us seeing total sunshine today, and then it's going to be hot in and around San Antonio. There will be pockets that reach 100 degrees today, but I just couldn't get to 100 for the forecast. So it's at 99 degrees for that high temperature in Helotes, Stone Oak, JBSA Randolph at 98, 99 in Lackland, 101 in Castro. It'll be really hot out west. Out toward Del Rio, high temperature of 105 today. 99 for the high in New Braunfels and in Seguin. So if you're planning your day today, know that there will be complete sunshine, south wind at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Even though we're in the 60s now, we'll already be near 80 degrees around 10, 90 at noon, and then we'll spend the afternoon in the 90s. Thank goodness we'll have low humidity and won't have to deal with a heat index value, but still this heat is high anyway without the high humidity. And then we'll cool down into the 80s. By about 10, we'll be at 82 degrees. By midnight, we should be in the 70s. And then tomorrow will be a warm day as well, with one exception. We're going to have a cool front moving through tomorrow, and I'll tell you about that in a bit. For now, areas across the Appalachian Mountains are going to be dealing with flooding from the remnants of what was Hurricane Delta, now working its way as a low-pressure system across the eastern portion of the United States. Snowfall up in Idaho and in Montana. This is that front that's going to move through tomorrow. It's much cooler behind that front with temperatures in the 40s, but I do have to say this is going to be a pretty wimpy and weak cool front. It'll drop us from the near 100-degree range to the low 90s for the majority of the week. But if you're somebody who loves that fall feeling, another stronger cold front is going to arrive probably on Thursday, and that'll actually knock our highs down into the 70s with morning lows into the 50s. Unfortunately, with that second front, we're just not going to see much rain over the next 7 days. Yesterday marked the 19th day in a row without rain reported at the airport, and even with that second front, we've only got a 20% chance for an isolated shower or storm. Regardless of if we get to 100 or not today, we are going to shatter a record of 96 degrees. So it's going to be hot out there. Please stay cool and remember to watch over your pets and make sure not to walk them during the peak heating of the day.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. Time now is 6:48, 66 degrees out.
Well, a new movie about an undocumented Filipina living in a small town here in Texas. We have a preview of the movie Yellow Rose next on GMSA.
Good morning, welcome back, and happy Sunday. We're here to talk about you with a new movie starring a two-time Tony Award nominee who's now looking at an immigrant to the United States drawn to a particular American type of music.
The movie set and filmed in Lone Star State by a filmmaker from Lubbock. CNN's David Daniel looks at Yellow Rose.
I never fit in, never could win.
Yellow Rose is about an undocumented Filipina in small-town Texas who dreams of being a country singer.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement! We have a warrant to search!
Then her mother is arrested and sent for deportation.
Hollywood was not interested in a story like this, and no matter who I pitched, it was a no.
Filmmaker Diane Paragas grew up in Texas and worked for more than 15 years to make the movie her way.
It's a story of the American spirit, which is to persevere, which is to embrace each other despite our differences.
The skin I'm living in don't feel at home to me.
Paragas knew she'd found her rose when she saw Eva Noblezada on Broadway in Miss Saigon.
And of course, she was extraordinary and And I offered her the part on the spot.
She handed me the script and said, "You're Rose." And I said, okay, a Filipino lead in a movie that I had never even seen a script close to this kind of representation. So for me, it was like, I have to be a part of that kind of progression for sure.
I was very determined to tell a true American story as much as I was very determined to tell a true Filipino story. And in that hyphen, in that mix is where this film lives.
No, I won't go quietly into the night, and I'll sing to the light of day.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Time now is 6:53, 66 degrees out.
Now let's take a look at some birthdays. This is Brian. He is 19 years old. Happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday, Brian. And next up, we have Liam. Happy birthday, Liam. Liam is 5 years old this weekend. Looks awesome. Remember, you guys can post your birthday pictures. Just head to ksat.com/birthdays, include a name and an age. We show them every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday right here on GMSA.
Let's take a look at what's coming up next on Good Morning America.
Hey, good morning. Coming up on GMA, President Trump cleared to return to his regular duties by his doctor, who released a memo overnight after Trump's first public event since testing positive for COVID. Plus, new details about the alleged plot to kidnap the governor of Michigan. Two of the suspects now confirmed to be ex-Marines. And finally, Meghan Markle talking about being trolled on the internet as she and husband Harry go on a teenage therapy podcast in honor of World Mental Health Day. It's all coming up on GMA. We'll see you very soon.
This morning, a man continues in critical condition after he was hit head-on by another vehicle on the city's north side last night. Police say the driver at fault won't be facing any charges as they don't suspect that alcohol is a factor. Officers say the victim of the crash, a man in his 50s, was headed north on Vance Jackson around 10 last night, and as he approached that traffic light at Jackson Keller, police say another driver lost control coming off that corner and veered into oncoming traffic, crashing into the man's vehicle. Both vehicles ended up off the main road with pretty extensive damage. The 50-year-old man was taken to University and Hospital, where again he remains in critical condition. The full story on KSAT.com. Reporting Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Well, it's cool out there right now, but that's not going to be the case later on this afternoon. 66 degrees at the airport, officially 56 in Kerrville, 61 Uvalde, 62 in Pleasanton. But look at these high temperatures today as we see completely sunny skies. We're going to warm up to 99 degrees at the airport in San Antonio. That'll be the hottest temperature since October since October of 1991. So very impressive there. 105 out toward Del Rio, 103 in Eagle Pass. Now, the good news is we start to cool down a little bit. Tomorrow will be in the low 90s rather than the upper 90s. And by Thursday, we actually get another stronger cold front moving through, and that'll drop our highs into the 70s. Unfortunately, no significant chance for rain other than an isolated shower storm with the passage of that late week cold front. So guys, hot today. Man, it feels great outside right now, but not for long.
All right, Sarah, thank you so much. We're going to take an hour-long break for Good Morning America, but we come back at 8. We are going to be joined by Mayor Ron Nirenberg at 8 and 8:30. We're going to talk about a lot. We're talking about the economy, law enforcement, and, of course, voting.
Yeah, early voting starts on Tuesday. Our Alicia Barrera will also be live talking about how you can place your vote early as well.
That's right, and we're going to have the updates on Ken Paxton getting involved with the mail-in ballots and the distribution and how all that's going to work. So join us here, 8 a.m.
See you at 8.
Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Just when we thought the battle over ballots in Texas was settled, the Attorney General Ken Paxton is weighing in. We have the latest information just ahead here on GMSA.
And part of the devastating effects of the pandemic, communities, families losing their jobs, their livelihood, their ways of life. Mayor Ron Nirenberg joining us live on Leading SA this morning, talking about our local economy, the current state of it, and what's next.
Good Sunday morning. Look at that sunrise, 65 degrees at 8 a.m. But will things heat up? Sarah Spivey will tell us most likely yes. But how hot?
That's a good point. Good morning. I'm Max Massey.
And I'm Sarah Acosta. It's Sunday, October 11th, and it doesn't feel like October.
No. What'd you say yesterday? It felt like August.
August, but I merged August and October together.
That's good.
What about this? Hot-tober.
There we go.
Okay, yeah, the last couple of days here have been very hot in San Antonio, and today is not going to be an exception. In fact, today will likely break the record high of 96. But looking outside right now with temperatures in the 60s, you may not think that. It's actually nice and cool out there, but just temporarily. 65 degrees outside, tons of sunshine, no clouds in the sky. The low humidity, though, that's what's going to allow us to warm up really quickly. It's in the 50s up in Kerrville. It's 54 degrees, 58 in Bandera, 58 in Hondo, 63 Castroville, 62 Stinson, 64 at GMSA Randolph. And like I said, we are going to warm up very quickly here. So a little PSA, Fido's forecast for you. It's going to be a hot day today. In fact, too hot to walk the dog in the afternoon, especially on concrete and asphalt, which gets a lot hotter than the surrounding air. High temperature of 99 around San Antonio. If we get to 99, which I'm forecasting for, that'll be the hottest October day since 1991. Our average high temperature this time of year, 85 degrees. So it's going to be much hotter than average, a hot-tober, feeling a lot like August rather than October outside. But we are expecting to see a couple of cool fronts in the forecast. That's going to help to regulate temperatures a bit. I'll be back with a look ahead at those fronts coming up in just a few minutes. Max, Sarah?
Thank you, Sarah. The fight over the ballot boxes in Texas continues. We're less than a month before Election Day and just days before early voting ramps up.
While Governor Greg Abbott's order aims to limit ballot collection sites, the federal appeals court tossed that ruling out. But now the Texas Attorney General has weighed in. Our Alicia Beretta is live on the KSAT rooftop with a breakdown. Good morning, Alicia.
Good morning, Sarah and Maxwell. Is it about ballot security or voter suppression, oppression? What would happen if this battle is about if it's acceptable for the state to limit where voters can drop off these mail-in ballots? Is it the government's choice or is it the voters' choice? So here's a timeline that we have for you about this battle of ballots. First is the proclamation issued by Governor Abbott earlier this month to limit drop-off mail-in ballots to just one site in each Texas county. His reason? To enhance ballot security, but Friday, the U.S. District Court Judge Robert Pittman overruled that order. But just when people thought things were settled, Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed an appeal of the injunction, and that happened this weekend. Hours later, the United States Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals granted his request. So you're probably asking yourself, what now? What does this mean? This means the governor's order of one collection spot per county for ballots remains in place.
Some people are going to be driving 40, 50 miles to try to get there.
I don't think it's fair to just have one location in such a large county.
There are 4 groups, including the League of Latin American Citizens, that have filed a federal lawsuit against the state of Texas. The appeals court gave them until 10 Monday morning, that's tomorrow, to issue a response. And although this move was made by the state to ensure the election integrity, there was no evidence provided by the governor on if this is actually real. So if these drop-off sites enable voter fraud. So this is definitely something that we're going to be keeping you updated both on air and online. Reporting live from the KSAT rooftop, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Alicia. And as she was talking about voting, early voting starts Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, October 13th. It's going to go until October 30th. And this year, the early voting period extended after Governor Abbott's proclamation, giving people here more time to cast their ballots. Nearly 50 polling locations will be open here in Bexar County. That includes the AT&T Center, recently set to be transformed into the mega polling site.
Well, now to the latest involving the coronavirus here in Bexar County. Metro Health is reporting an additional 80 cases. That brings the total confirmed cases to 59,594 people since the start of the pandemic. The 7-day moving average is 156 per 24 hours. Now, 2 new deaths were also reported, bringing the death toll to 1,174 people that have died from this virus. As for hospitalization rate, 190 people are in the hospital, with 83 in the ICU and 38 people on ventilators. 17% of staffed hospital beds are available.
Well, 2020 has been quite the year, to say the least. The pandemic, a social movement, and it is an election year, all leaving us with so many more questions than we have answers around the country and around here in our community.
Mayor Ron Nirenberg joins us this morning on our Leading SA segment to help us answer some of these overarching questions. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning, y'all. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to jump right in. We know that hospitality and tourism plays a huge role in our local economy. Right now, we're 7 months into this pandemic. How have we been affected, and what does it mean for the future of our San Antonio economy?
Sure. Well, you know, the hospitality and tourism industry, the visitor industry in general across the country has been hit probably the hardest, just because, you know, travel has really stopped in a lot of places. And San Antonio, of course, has one of the best hospitality and tourism economies in the country. So it's been devastating. My heart goes out to them. And there's a variety of businesses that derive their market from the tourism and hospitality and visitor industry in general. So it's going to be a challenge, and you've seen a lot of relief efforts locally and nationally take place. We are fighting right now at the local level to make sure that there's proper relief in place for small businesses, and we know that in particular, food and beverage restaurants in particular have been hit very hard. So we're going to be working with our state and federal legislators to try to get more relief to them. You know, and in terms of our own local economy, it's been one of the reasons why we have been struggling through this with regard to city budgeting, because a bulk of our city departments, I should say a few city departments, derive a lot of their resources from hotel and occupancy tax. Thankfully, our city staff has been working proactively throughout the summer months. We've been able to balance the city budget without having to lay off any city employees, but it has been a challenge. Overall, the economy is like others around the country. It's going to be a slow recovery. There's many jobs that have been lost. We've had 150,000 people file for unemployment. And those folks are experiencing job loss just like other parts of the country that are going to slowly recover. It's going to take a number of years for many of those jobs to come back, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics, in fact, tells us that many of those jobs, up to a quarter or a third of those jobs, will not come back at all, which is why we've got to focus on making sure that folks in our economy are able to have the skills that for the jobs that are available in demand careers that are, you know, basically hiring now.
Mayor, part of our local economy are our bars. Judge Nelson Wolff opted to keep the bars closed. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think, you know, first of all, want to make sure we level set. The governor's order closing bars is still in place, and it doesn't get lifted until the 14th at the earliest. And so what he has done is he's basically put the ball into the judge's court all across the state. Every county judge now is having to go through the decision-making process as to when and how bars open. So what the judge has done, which I fully support, is basically seek guidance from our public health community about setting the stage for that opening so it can be done safely. And it can be done on the timeline that makes sense to protect people in our community. So the Metro Health professionals, as well as our Community Response Coalition and people in the food and beverage industry, are now giving feedback to provide guidance to our public health professionals and ultimately to the judge to make that decision with regard to how and when bars will open.
All right, Mayor. And you know, we know that there are plans in place to help struggling businesses, struggling families here in our community. What does the election have to do with it? Can you explain to some of our viewers about what's on the ballot this election?
Sure. Well, and thank you, Max, for asking that. So there are a series of propositions on the ballot, and I should emphasize none of them are a new tax. None of them will increase your tax. But what we've done in the middle of this crisis is reallocate resources to make sure that we're getting San Antonians back on their feet. I want to focus particularly on Proposition B, SA Ready to Work. I mentioned earlier there's been over 150,000 people file for unemployment, and we know that a good quarter or a third of those jobs that have been lost are not going to come back. What a lot of folks, don't know, though, is that there's in-demand industries here in San Antonio that have jobs available, but people don't have the skills to take them. So what we're trying to do is make sure that people have access to training professional and technical training so that they can take those jobs and be back onto a family-sustaining job, family-sustaining wage. So over the next 4 years, Proposition B, which will go from 21 to 25, will take 10,000 people per year, put them on a job training track, and by the end of that, they will flow right into a job. We have been devastated, like every city in the country, but we know that in San Antonio in particular, where we have struggled with poverty, 68,000 of those 150,000 applicants were earning less than $22,000 per year. So it's a community priority for us to ensure that we get people back to work, we get them back to work safely, and that they can get back to work in a place where they can replace the dependence on that assistance to actually having a job that can sustain themselves and their families. That's SA Ready to Work, Proposition B, and I ask for people's support on that.
Well, thank you so much for your time this morning, Mayor, and we'll see you back here at 8:30. We have a lot more questions and things to unpack.
Sounds great.
All right, time now, 8:12, 65 degrees out. And yesterday, a long day of college football, super long day if you're a Longhorns fan. We're gonna have highlights, and you're probably smiling this morning if you're like our Sarah Spivey and you're an A&M fan. We'll explain why.
Plus, another insect to look out for in 2020. Why you don't want to get near these caterpillars. That's next.
And taking a live look out at the Alamo City, 65 degrees to start your Sunday morning. What does the rest of the day look like? Could we see record-breaking heat? We're going to check in with Sarah Spivey right after the break. Well, good morning, welcome back, and happy Sunday. 2020 has been quite the year, obviously. We've had murder hornets, aggressive rats, dangerous kissing bugs, and now there is venomous caterpillars. And don't worry, they're here in Texas.
I'm sure all these bugs have been here, but we just are.
You were the one in the newsroom that was like, I'm terrified. I'm in the garden all the time. I don't know if I can touch these caterpillars.
Well, because they are terrifying. They're called pus caterpillars, and they're hairy, and they may look cute. They're not cute. But trust us, when we say you don't want to touch one of these, its coat has venomous hairs that stick to skin when it comes in contact, causing a very unpleasant reaction. A Virginia woman who touched one says it feels like a scorching hot knife.
Okay, so more than uncomfortable.
Yes, so you can read more about these pus caterpillars right now on KSAT.com, and they live in Texas. I've never seen one of these in my backyard, thank goodness, but don't touch them.
I think the word scorching hot knife says enough.
Or even just pus. Like, no,
I had to go and Google them, and it had a dissected one.
Oh, good.
And the inside it looks like pus. Their larva looks like just yellow.
Yeah, I'm gonna just.
And with that, let's talk about the weather. Okay, yesterday we were very, very hot. In fact, we got up to 97 degrees, just shy of yesterday's record. But look at the average high temperature of 85. So we were 12 degrees above that. Del Rio, 102 degrees for the high temperature. Cotulla, 103. Laredo, 102. And what's more is that temperatures could be a degree or two higher than this afternoon. So we're in for a toasty day. But we've cooled down quite a bit in the overnight hours. It's now only 65 degrees in San Antonio. So a big drop in temperatures. Why the big drop in temperatures? Why the big rise in temperatures into the afternoon? Well, it all has to do with low humidity. This morning, waking up in Kerrville at 54 degrees, 61 in Del Rio. Yesterday at about 6 p.m., they were at 102. So what an impressive drop there in temperatures for this morning. Again, that dry air in place. Dew points are generally in the 40s or 50s for many places, and that's right in that dry range. And so as we head into the afternoon with abundant sunshine, we'll be warming up. Now, there still are some clouds east of I-35 right now this morning. Some cloudy skies, some areas of patchy fog for areas like Hallettsville, Gonzales. But notice even that's going to go away. All of us looking at complete sunshine today, and this is a look at those afternoon high temperatures. 99 degrees in San Antonio for the high. If we get to 99, it'll be the hottest October temperature we have had since 1991, 29 years. So this heat is real deal. 105 for the high in Del Rio, 103 in Eagle Pass, 101 Uvalde, 103 in Carrizo Springs. If we happen to get to 100, that would be the hottest 100-degree day, the latest we've ever had a 100-degree day, which is really impressive. So again, total sunshine, we're in the 60s now, but we'll be near 80 degrees at 10, 90 at noon, 99 for the afternoon high. South winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Off to the east, there's still the remnants of Delta. Delta is now just a remnant low, but it is bringing some flooding for the Appalachian Mountains. Meanwhile, to the Pacific Northwest we go. You can see some snow out there. There's our next front that's going to move through tomorrow. But don't get so excited about a chill in the air, because tomorrow's front will be very weak and it'll just knock our high temperatures down to near 90 degrees through Wednesday. Then another real deal front is going to arrive on Thursday, and that'll knock our high temperatures down into the 70s as we close out the week. Unfortunately, no significant chance for rain with that front, just an isolated shower or storm on Thursday night. So until then, it's going to be hot. We're going to have to deal with toasty afternoons and cool mornings, but then I'm looking forward to that fall feeling by the end of the week. Hey, coming up, I'll have some more Weather 101 trivia about this record-breaking heat today.
53. I like that low.
There we go. All right, 820, 65 degrees out. I like the cool down to 93. That was it. All right, here we go, Sarah. This one's right for you. We had a long day of college football yesterday. A lot of Texas teams in action, including Texas A&M. Big upset alert. We're going to be talking A&M, UTSA, and of course, the Longhorns.
Hey, go.
Good morning, welcome back, and happy Sunday. Longhorn fans, take a deep breath. We know it was a long, wild Saturday for you. The game between Texas and Oklahoma was a wild one. Both teams had a must-win undertone. Neither the Longhorns or the Sooners really could afford to get too far behind in the race for the Big 12 championship game, and yesterday showed just how much each one wanted it. The Longhorns trailed 31-17 to start the fourth quarter. The game eventually led to a total of 4 overtimes. Both teams exchanging touchdowns in the first 2 of the overtimes, but a pair of missed field goals. Look at that. Taking it all the way in there. But here it is. Wait for it. There, Sam Ehlinger doing all he can. I'll give the man credit after a couple of missed field goals. Oh, there's another one. Another missed field goal. That's what it comes down to. Just got to get it between the uprights. Spencer Rattler, though, working around, finding his receiver, crosses the plane, and Oklahoma wins big. All right, on the other side, A&M fans, like our Sarah Spivey, a big reason to smile this morning. Big showdown at Kyle Field between Florida and Texas A&M. SEC matchup. Early fourth quarter, 4th and 2. Aggies at the Gators, 19. Handoff, Isaiah Spiller trucking the linebacker, breaking off a 19-yard touchdown run. Aggies lead 31-28, less than 5 minutes to go. Aggies down 7. Kellen Mond firing it. 51-yard touchdown. Tying the game at 38 right before time set to expire. Oh, there it is. Oh, great defensive play. Either way, Seth Small would come up with a huge 26-yard field goal. The Aggies win big, beating Florida 41-38. And time to talk about the local squad. A beautiful day in Utah. BYU undefeated still. Hosting the UTSA Roadrunners, an impressive showing by UTSA. Got to give the local guys as much credit as possible. UTSA took a first quarter lead. They fell behind. They attempted a fourth quarter comeback, but in the end, UTSA coming up just short, losing 27-20 to, like we said, the undefeated BYU. All right, it is Sunday, so we get to talk about the NFL. Dallas Cowboys taking on the in-division rivals. New York Giants, 3:25 this afternoon in Dallas. Texans head-to-head, another in-division rivals. Jacksonville Jaguars, the Texans. First game in a while without their head coach. He got fired last week. So we will see. Must-wins for both teams. Any commentary?
Lost hope.
There you go. All right, 826, 65 degrees out.
While learning about the father of modern Mexican art still ahead, why Jose Posada was and what inspired him to create the popular Calavera.
And everything you need to know before you head to the polls. Alicia Barra joining us live. A wrap-up as the general elections approach and early voting just a couple days away. Good morning, welcome back, and happy Sunday. I'm Max Massey.
And I'm Sarah Acosta. It's Sunday, October 11th. You know, happy Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us. But it doesn't feel like a beautiful Sunday.
It does. All right, we're not going to kill the mood here.
I'm
65 degrees. Yesterday, with sun was out, it was a little hot. It's going to get hotter.
Yeah, I mean, it feels nice outside right now, but Sarah's right. It is going to be very toasty in the afternoon, but it does feel good outside right now. It is 65 degrees outside with tons of sunshine. In fact, hard to find a cloud out there. Low humidity and calm wind conditions. Elsewhere, we're actually dipping down into the 50s. In Hondo, it's 58. 56 in Kerrville, Pleasanton at 65 degrees in your backyard, 65 in New Braunfels, 61 in Del Rio, and 61 in Carrizo Springs. So today, maybe you want to do some yard work. It is Sunday after all. I would highly recommend that you do that yard work before lunch, because look how quickly temperatures are going to pop up. Even by 10, we'll be at 80, even though we're in the mid 60s right now. At noon, 90 degrees, afternoon, 99 for the high temperature. That will break a record. The record for the day is 96. South winds at 5 to 10, and it'll cool down into the evening as well. So, Weather 101 question. You can test your weather knowledge for San Antonio. In San Antonio, when is the latest 100-degree day on record? Records go back to 1885. So, September 15th, September 28th, October 2nd, or October 15th. I'll have the answer to that coming up in just a bit. And of course, a look at a cool down in our forecast, which is welcome news. Max.
Thank you, Sarah. There's so much going on around the country, around Texas, and around San Antonio. We have a lot of questions about the general state of our community, so we figured we'd go right to the source.
In today's leading essay segment, Mayor Ron Nirenberg joins us live again. We just spoke with you, Mayor, at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. We have a lot of information to get to.
Great to be with you.
All right, Mayor. So 2020, not just the year of the pandemic, but also seems like the year of a social movement. So these last few months, what is the relationship between local leadership and our police? What does that look like?
Yeah, it certainly has been all across the country, and it's been a year of reckoning in so many ways. I will say here in San Antonio, the relationship with the police department has been good. The police chief in particular and our police officers and in our neighborhoods have a strong relationship with the communities. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement. So we have been working through several areas with the department. For use of force policy review. This past week, we went through the first round of reviewing a body cam footage policy, which will help with transparency in those incidents that are high profile to make sure that people are getting an accurate accounting of what occurs in some of these critical incidents. And we're also going to be obviously anticipating a collective bargaining process where we need to focus on some reforms that we've been waiting on for quite some time, which is reform of the disciplinary process, making sure that the chief has the ability, the authority to make final calls with regard to removing officers who are accused of misconduct. As you know, that's been a conversation for a number of years. It's in the collective bargaining agreement that we have to make those reforms possible. So that's what we're looking forward to in the fall, a good, fair, a collective bargaining process that produces the results that the community has been looking for.
And Mayor, we talked about what is on the ballot the last half hour, but what about the act of voting? So what is your message to people who may be worried about voting in person?
Voting will be safe. Bexar County and the elections office and our commissioner's court has done a tremendous job to make sure that voting booths are going to be properly sanitized and that all the proper health precautions are going to be put in place amid a pandemic. People should feel safe going to the polls. Now, it doesn't mean that people shouldn't turn in a mail ballot if that's what they prefer to do. And obviously health reasons are one of those causes for that. But more than anything, we want people to know that our elections will be conducted safely, fairly, but make sure you please go vote. This is such a critical election.
And speaking of voting, obviously the big concern is because we are in the middle of this pandemic. So what does that fight against the pandemic look like right now in our community? And what is kind of the warning sign as Halloween approaches?
Yeah, it's, we're not over with this, and certainly the virus is still out there. We've been working very hard since we had that summer spike to bring this under control. We saw, in our hospitals, 1,400 people on any given day in our hospitals with COVID. And that was really taxing every resource that we had. And it was devastating. It was very deadly. We've lost too many of our friends and loved ones and neighbors and colleagues through this pandemic. But our community has been working very well together to bring that back under control. Today, as we speak, our hospital system is at a relatively normal stress level, but we still have infections and we still have localized outbreaks on occasion. We've got to maintain the public health guidance. So until there is a vaccine, until there is proven therapeutics, we've got to make sure we continue to heed their warnings. Wear your face mask when you leave your house. Make sure you practice physical distancing. And just pay proper precautions. But I do have to credit the entire community coming together once again. San Antonio does teamwork better than any place else in the country, and we've done that, and we've saved lives during this pandemic.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor. We really appreciate your time. You'll be able to watch this full interview on KSAT.com later this morning.
I'm safe, y'all. Thank you so much.
Well, you may already be convinced as to why your vote is important in the November 3rd general election, but you still may be wondering where and how to vote.
That's right. And with early voting just a couple days away, Alicia Barrera joins us live. She has everything you need to know about voting in the upcoming election. Alicia?
Good morning. Well, all this information that we're going to go through in the next couple of minutes, I want to tell you that it is on KSAT.com, so you can get there to get that full report. But we want to start with some of the most pressing questions. The top one being, because of the pandemic, do I have to wear a mask when I go to the polls? Not in Texas, you're not required, but state officials are encouraging voters to wear it anyways. Just keep in mind, politically themed face masks are not allowed. You're asked to practice social distancing and good hygiene, so pack some hand sanitizer. And of course, we just heard the mayor on the precautions that they're taking at the polls. This brings us to the next question. What do I need to bring to the polls? Well, your photo ID, that can be your driver's license, the election ID certificate, personal ID card, U.S. military ID, or even your passport. Remember to leave cell phones, tablets, or laptops in your car. And remember that preparation is key to be informed ahead of your visit to the polls. You can find out which congressional or legislative district you live in, and as well, which elected official represents you. On KSAT.com, we have links you need to look up that information. And I even clicked on one of the links. It's super easy, super quick. It only requires you to enter your address. And also, a link to all the Bexar County precinct races is also available. And one of the coolest features that you can find on KSAT.com is actually the sample ballot. So again, we invite you to take a look at that. Over here to my right, we have my laptop that shows what that sample ballot looks like. It's a few pages long. That way you know exactly what you're going to be voting for. And it even includes, the proposition. So here, City of Alamo Heights proposition, the issuance, and it goes on to read. And the cool thing, it's both in Spanish and English. So this is a great tool. That way you're informed when you either go to the polls for early election or on November 3rd. Reporting live, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Alicia. In your latest news this morning, a man in his 50s is in the hospital after San Antonio police say a woman veered into oncoming traffic. Officers say the woman hit another driver on Jackson Keller and Vance Jackson late last night. The man was taken to University Hospital with life-threatening injuries. It's still unclear why at this time the woman lost control of her car, but officers on scene tell us alcohol was not a factor. No charges are being filed at this time.
And to just the south of us in Corpus Christi, the search continues for a missing family. According to CCPD, two 2-year-olds, a girl and a boy, and a 4-year-old girl disappeared just yesterday evening. Officers say the children last seen with the 19-year-old woman leaving a Walmart. Woman described as 5'5", brown hair, brown eyes, last seen wearing an orange halter shirt and blue jeans. If you have any information about their whereabouts or want more information on the story, we have everything right now. Just head to KSAT.com. Time now, 8:40, 65 degrees out.
Well, highlighting the tradition and celebration of life and death in Mexico. After the break, the story behind the Mexican artist who inspired La Calavera, Catrina.
And taking a live look out at the Alamo City. 65 degrees out there right now. It is going to get hot out there. Sarah Coast is not happy about it, but Sarah Spivey is going to join us with your full forecast.
KSAT 12 presents another Day of the Dead story.
The decorative skulls you see everywhere during Day of the Dead are called calaveras, and the most popular calaveras originated with a political cartoonist and printmaker, José Guadalupe Posada. Born in 1852, Posada lived through some of Mexico's most turbulent times, and his first political cartoons were published when he was just a teenager. They were so successful they forced a governor out of office, but Posada's new enemies forced him to flee town. In 1888, he moved to Mexico City, and in the following years, he helped publish tens of thousands of illustrated flyers, or volantes. These single-page tabloids were like our late-night talk shows. They were filled with biting political humor, and at a time when few could read, Posada's calaveras became popular throughout Mexico. So popular, many believe he raised the country's political consciousness. And when the Mexican Revolution was just beginning, Posada published what would become his most famous image, La Catrina. At the time, many of Mexico's ruling class were obsessed with acting and looking European. To mock them, Posada put a fancy French hat on the Aztecs' female god of death. His statement, rich or poor, we all die. Death is the great equalizer. As far as Posada, he died poor and mostly forgotten in 1913. But in the following decades, his influence on the great artists of Mexico became undeniable. Today, many consider Posada the father of modern Mexican art, and La Catrina has become the icon of Day of the Dead.
All right, welcome back. 8:46 this morning, already 65 degrees out, but you're saying it's actually warmer than that.
Well, yeah, I looked at the 5-minute increment temperature that is taken at the airport, and it already says 70. So, you know, we're warming up, and that was just within the last 5 minutes or so. It's going to be a very hot day today. I'm forecasting a high temperature of 99. But some areas could potentially reach 100 degrees. So that brings me to our Weather 101 question. Max and Sarah, are you ready? In San Antonio, when is the latest 100-degree day on record? B.
Wow.
Okay, September 28th.
I'm going to go October 15th.
You know what? Sarah is right.
Good job,
September
Sarah.
28th,
Proud of you.
2005. We hit 100 degrees, and that is the latest 100 degrees has been reached officially at the airport. Guys, we're already at October 11th, so if we hit 100 degrees today, this year will go down as the latest 100 degrees has been reached. And records go back quite a ways, all the way to 1885. So this heat today is real deal. I want to show you the time lapse. Beautiful start to the day. Not a cloud in the sky around San Antonio. East of I-35, there are some areas of patchy fog, but around Bexar County, it's just sunny right now. 65 degrees officially at the airport, but again, I just checked that 5-minute increment, and it looks like we're already at 70. Low humidity out there too. It's 63 at Bernie Stage Airfield, 59 in Bandera, even got down into the mid-50s in Kerrville. It's 57 degrees, 67 in Castroville, 64 JBSA Randolph, 67 in Pleasanton, 61 in Del Rio. And that's impressive that Del Rio got that cool because yesterday they reached a high temperature of 102. So more than 40-degree drop there for the start of the day today. And once again, it's going to be hot everywhere we look. We're going to see totally sunny skies throughout the day. Temperatures will climb. Del Rio could get up to 105 today. In San Antonio, I am forecasting 99. So if we get to 99, that'll be the hottest October day on record since 1991. But if we get to 100, that'll be the hottest October day on record, period. 97 for the high at Timberwood Park, 99 Leon Springs, 99 Helotes, 100 in La Jolla, 100 in Elmendorf, 101 in Castroville. And just to put this further into perspective, our average high temperature this time of year is 85. So we're going to be well above that today. In fact, we'll already be at 90 at noon, 95 at 2, around between 4 to 6, we should reach 99 degrees. And then we'll cool back down into the 80s in the evening hours with temperatures falling off quickly again because of the low humidity. Showing you the national weather pattern, rain to the east of us for the Appalachian Mountains. This is the remnants of what was Hurricane Delta, which made landfall along the Louisiana coast. Now just bringing some rain for those areas. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, snowfall up in parts of Wyoming, Idaho, Montana. This is a front that's going to be our saving grace and at least keep us from getting to 100 degrees tomorrow. The front will move through tomorrow, but it's not going to be strong. In fact, it'll really only bump our high temperatures down to near 90 degrees through the middle of the week. But if you're somebody who likes the fall feeling, and I am, and I'm ready for it not to be hot anymore, we have got a decent, stronger cold front moving through on Thursday. That'll pop our highs down into the 70s. Unfortunately, with that front, we're not going to see much of rain, if any. It's been 19 consecutive days without rainfall and only a 20% chance with that front moving through on Thursday. So at least we're going to cool down from here on out, but today is going to be a hot one. So please try to stay in with the AC if you can and check on, the older folks who may not have AC in their house. So something to keep in mind.
All right. Thank you so much, Sarah. Time now 8:50, 65 degrees out.
Well, real estate is said to be one of the best investments a person can make. Tomorrow on GMSA, we have tips for millennials looking to buy their first home.
This morning, as the president claims COVID-19 is disappearing, the numbers nationwide do not align with that assessment. The U.S. with 3 straight days of 50,000 plus cases for the first time since August, with hospitalizations rising in 34 states.
One theme has really emerged as I've taken care of these patients, and that is the unfairness of this disease.
The Minnesota Health Department now announcing 9 cases tied to a Trump rally last month, with 2 people hospitalized. Next door, Wisconsin is enduring the worst outbreak in the nation. Its positivity rate at 17.6%, far higher than neighboring Illinois.
Problem is, everybody's not on the same page. Some states are open, some are closed, it doesn't make any sense.
Doctors under constant strain, turning to innovative techniques and treatments. In Florida, umbilical cord stem cells are being used to treat patients experiencing life-threatening respiratory distress. Some COVID patients, though, are haunted by lingering symptoms months after they're treated for the virus.
How does it feel to be going home? Great.
9/11 first responder Robert Marrero was released from the hospital in May, but now struggles with memory issues, fatigue, and debilitating pain.
One of the biggest questions I have is, am I going to stay like this?
But across the country, Americans continue to step up. Single mother Lunisal Guzman lost her life to the virus, leaving 2 young adopted children behind. Now her 2 adult daughters, Catherine and Jennifer, are raising those kids as their own.
She wouldn't have it any other way. I want them to remember that, no matter what, that even though mommy's not here, we will always be.
Good news in the pollen count today. We are just seeing low counts on mold and ragweed. Nothing really concerning there. 99 for the high. We should shatter a record of 96 for the day. And then in the forecast ahead, we'll have a couple of cool downs near 90 degrees for most of the week. But then on Thursday, we're going to get a real deal cold front, 70s by the weekend.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Happy Sunday.